So 88 Heroes is a retro-like game developed by Bitmap Barrow and published by Rising Star Games. Now, stop me and just hear this for a minute. For those who are familiar with the name Bitmap Barrow, they're the guys who originally made the porting game, well, the massively porting game, Xenocrisis. As this is actually one of the few other games that actually came out before Xenocrisis did. So, the game is available on PS4, PS Vita, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. But weirdly, the PlayStation version has been delisted from their digital store despite the add-on still being there regardless. Now, for those who have PlayStation, don't worry, there are physical copies for the PS4. Should be on your local store. But, most recently, the PS Vita version got a physical release. It might be a limited release, so there's not a lot of copies to say, but that was supposed to come with like a whole lot of different stuff, but that's all I can really say. There's a couple different modes. There's also a free add-on and a paid add-on, but they're pretty cheap. So what you need to do is control the 88 heroes, guide them to the door, and you're all set. But try not to waste too many heroes, because they all can pretty much die easily sometimes. And all these heroes have their own strengths and weaknesses, which can really throw you guys off if you're not careful on what hero does what. They can do the dumbest stuff, the goofiest stuff, or maybe just more dumb stuff. But sometimes there's some heroes that are actually pretty good. Now, for those who have the heroes keep dying, don't worry about it. If you collect the 88 coins throughout these levels, or at least just the points entirely, because the gold one gives you more, you can revive whichever hero you want, and then you can have them later in these levels. But these achievements are super easy to get, which I kept collecting achievement after achievement out of thin air. I'm like, what is going on here? So yeah, the levels are on the difficult side, and that's what you need to do. You need to guide them to the door, and that's it. But there's like obstacles, like traps, enemies, or just cheap stuff that just somehow kill you or whatever they do. Another obstacle that you may have a problem with the game is that there's these backgrounds that will probably keep you distracted when you play the game or whatever. So that's another thing you really gotta keep in. Well, I don't know if you really should keep an eye on, but you should really need to be focused on. You got to overcome these traps and whatever. But yeah, collect the coins if you can, and that's pretty much more around it. You can get the coins by finding them through the levels or by killing enemies, but that just depends on what character you're randomly played as. Yeah, it's a random thing. You don't choose, the game just gives it to you. But trust me, there's some that are good, but some that are also weird and dumb, and they're just cheap to control. Well, to be fair from earlier, is that this game contains 88 levels with your 88 heroes, so that's typically as to why that I say you should really try to be careful. But like I said before, you really have to really try to be careful, because there are some traps and there's just like some cheap deaths in the game, which can really make it a lot harder for you guys to play. I've always read that some people have difficulty with the game, and I really don't blame them. It's challenging. I don't know if it's more challenging than Xenocrisis, but I'm pretty sure this might be more challenging because all these cheap deaths. Even though Xenocrisis is harder in terms of like the gameplay and whatever, this game, however, I think tops it in terms of difficulty, despite it coming out years prior. So for those who like a challenge, this is definitely going to be worth it. I got this while it was on sale on the Xbox, that's why I decided to give this a try. And I pretty much was surprised that there wasn't a physical release of the game for the Vita until, well, now. They probably was laying it around because there's been news that there isn't going to be that much physical Vita games as of like right now. There might be more coming out, but not a whole lot to say. Some are saying that 1001 Spikes might be getting it at some point soon, if that's actually going to happen. And whatever else that I was hearing about, but forgive me, it was been a little bit ago since I've last heard. But this was the game I noticed this. And I noticed this game was having that physical release was because I was looking around Video Games Plus and this happened to pop in. So yeah, each character in the game plays completely different. So it's really going to be hard for you to master. But sometimes might be easy depending as to who you play as. So all I'm just going to say for right now is that, well, there's a challenge. And you guys are going to have to try to master your way into victory. And I always just find the Bitmap Bureau games a little bit more difficult at this point. Most of these I've always seen them, well, they play more like arcadey games, so I can't really blame them. So all I can say, it's a challenging game, and I don't know if you guys can survive in this game for as long as you possibly can. Because there's a lot of challenge in terms of levels and whatever.